Hello, MCM London, how are we? Woo! We are joined on the MYM buzz stage with Robert Llewellyn and Chris Barry. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Very, very much.
Thank you.
How are we?
A bit knackered, if I'm honest.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's been a busy day.
It's been a busy day. I was here yesterday being a full-timer.
You're a full-timer.
Yep, although I won't be here for the last half hour today, but I'm looking forward to coming back tomorrow. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Hard fun weekend.
Robert, you back tomorrow?
No, I'm just going to be lounging in a hot tub with a load of Russian models. Yeah, they're model ships, little model ships.
Oh, okay.
From Russia.
Chris, you're not invited to that, no?
No. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah.
No, I'm coming here. You can play with your battleships, you know?
Yeah.
And I'll be here with the punters, with the fans.
That's it. So have you seen any great Red Dwarf cosplayers around con?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah? Anyone in particular stood out for you?
Well, there's been some top-class gingham frocks and Mr. Flibbles.
There's been the first one today. The first sort of gingham dress I saw today was one that stood out.
Yeah.
But a few good standard early rimmers, very good. What else have we had?
I haven't seen a Crichton is quite difficult.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a Crichton here today. We sometimes do. They're amazing.
Yeah. Is there one that sticks in your mind, a Crichton that you've seen before that sticks in your mind?
Well, there's a man from the Czech Republic who's extraordinary, and he's made the most. He comes over from the Czech Republic, and he's got an amazing Crichton costume. Wow. It's extraordinary.
I'd like to see someone come as the crushed Crichton.
That's true. Yeah, in the box.
And do a whole weekend at London Comic Con
just
as
walking
a crushed
around like
Crichton.
that. Yeah,
that would be a physically demanding
that
role.
Would be.
That.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start off because I've interviewed you a few times, Chris, and I love answering this question, shall I say. First is basically any movement on Britass?
No movement on Britass at the moment, but it's not through lack of trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully, you never know. Watch this space. No real movement, I'm afraid. I haven't had time to contact anyone, but I will, over the summer at some point, try and make some inroads.
Push that, like it. Scrappy Challenge, love that programme. Are we going to see that maybe push forward, something new?
I'm not, again, it's the same thing. I mean, there are rumours milling around the more extreme ends of the engineering community. I'm talking people with serious piercings and unusual facial hair and welding guns. You know, there's a bit of chatter going on about a series for Netflix, which I believe is an online portal for video entertainment.
I like it. Very good answers, guys, for that. So when reading, let's talk Red Dwarf, when reading the first script for episode 1, did you both know how you wanted your characters to be, or did Rob and Doug basically intervene and go, oh, hang on a bit, lads, can we tweak that there and tweak that here?
You weren't in it, were you?
I wasn't in it, so I wasn't there. I didn't exist.
Yeah, no.
I wish you had been there, Bob. You could have helped us through.
Yeah.
In episode 1, we didn't really know what necessarily we were doing. You know, I mean, we just didn't. You know, we'd been given some parameters for the characters. Lister and Rimmer don't get on well. You know, Cats, sort of evolved kind of thing. But yeah, it was a very different show for us, and we were just thinking, well, hopefully someone will like it. You know.
Well, Robert, the script that you read, the first one you was in, did you know how you wanted to play Crichton?
Not at all. No, I mean, the one thing we wanted was not for Crichton not to have a posh English butler's accent. So we didn't want him to be I always get the wrong one. Not a C-3PO. No, I mean not an R2. A C-3PO.
Yeah. Okay.
We didn't want him to be. Oh, Mr. Lister, sir, let me scrub your gussets. You know, it kind of felt that had been done. So I do remember trying it with a Swedish accent, and I remember Craig getting violent because it said it's going to drive me mad. Bobby, don't do it like that. So that was Mr. Lister. I'm coming in there to scrub your gussets. And that would have been hard, and so it was meant to be a sort of mid-Atlantic kind of nondescript American. Well, that's what it turned into, nondescript American accent. Some Americans think that I'm doing a like the equivalent of a Tim Nice but dim American character, a Bostonian who thinks he's posh.
Right, okay.
And that's, they speak like that. Oh, I'm highly intellectual. Oh, goodbye, ma'am. Goodness me. That is quite an unusual outfit for a
Bobby, we
humanoid.
don't want anyone else to leave, all right? So just, make it a little bit more interesting.
We've lost one of the humanoids, sir.
Indeed we have, sir. I wonder what was going on, sir.
Yes,
There, sir.
I don't know what was going on.
I'm impersonating me, impersonating you, sir.
I can't believe it.
Do you guys do anything in particular to get into character before filming? No? Is it just
shocking.
jump in a suit and just have
It's
a laugh?
just putting the costumes on. It's literally like an automatic switch for me. It's just I can't help it. Once I'm crightened up, that's it. I'm done.
Just put the can of lager down and get on with it, really.
If you're Craig, put down the 50th Marlborough Red of the day at 9 in the morning.
It's like putting on an old pullover.
Yeah, I bet.
30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 years next year. Isn't that
Wow.
amazing? It's incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Over the seasons, have you had any lines that have really resonated with you and stuck with you playing Rimmer and Crichton?
You love her more than me. The world loves a bastard.
Hey! Top trumps.
Actually, my favourite was, because you'll do it so much better, but over the years, I've come to think of you as people I've met. I've always loved that line. That was always my favourite.
Yes, Rimmer at his sort of most compassionate, really, isn't it? What an arse. Yes, Pinkle Squirmy, me, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, where do you start, really?
Yeah, there's so many,
lot of-
but I just wondered if there was one that resonated. But there's a few there, I like that. What elements and dynamics of your character have you absolutely loved developing over the so many seasons you've played these characters?
No, I mean, I think for me it's the sort of the neurotic side of Crichton kind of resonates with the actual actor.
Yeah.
The fascination with ironing, laundry. I mean, I do like that.
Yeah.
You know, I do a lot of ironing and laundry.
Yes. I think my nostrils have got even bigger.
Is it?
Look, with Rimmer, it's just,
Yeah.
you know, taking the punishment, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's it.
taking the flak, you know. I mean, he is anal, but, you know, occasionally, yes, there's a little bit of sympathy for him.
Yeah.
But I suppose the fun thing, for the relief for Rimmer, you know, the relentlessness of his anality is relieved by doing Ace every now and then,
Yeah,
you know,
that's it, yeah.
or something like that. So
We all love Ace.
stoke me a glibber.
What a guy.
What's it?
You never know. I might be back. As long as I fix the spaceship, spanners, and criters, I'll be back.
Oh, sir. That is, it was remarkable when we were doing Ace.
Yeah.
I think we were all actually in love with Ace. I mean, it was just when Chris came on with the wig and just
Yeah.
stood there like that. We all went,
Swoon.
even Lister. He's gorgeous. I mean, Bobby is. He's gorgeous.
I think you're pretty nice as well, Cridey. In a certain light.
Yes. Did you have any difficult moments playing your characters at all over the seasons?
Oh, loads.
Yeah.
That's sort of normal. That's the
not-
normal standard.
It's usually to do with remembering what to say,
yeah.
oddly enough.
How much of the show is actually improvisation? The lines are improvised and scripted.
Very, very little improvise. I mean,
Very
really little. I mean,
Really?
almost none. Occasionally, at the end of a scene, when
Yeah.
we're rehearsing, and one of us will come up with a sort of little tagline,
Yeah.
and Doug will walk around in a circle for a minute and go, yeah. And then you'll keep that in, but that's very rare, like once or twice a series, literally.
Wow.
The scripts are absolutely extraordinary when we first read them. And Doug rewrites and rewrites and rewrites, which is one of the reasons it's hard to learn, because some of the lines
Yeah.
we've had for like 2 hours before we record it, you know, so he changes it all the time, and they're always, when he goes, right, I'm going to do a rewrite, lads, and we go, oh no, and then it comes back and it's better, you know, we can't deny it, it's a better script. So.
Yeah, that's, you know, that is the difficult part of shooting, you know, when you've learned something and, you know, Doug does come along and change it, but that's fine, because it's just, it gets better and better and better through the week.
Yeah.
And that's part of, you know, being a dwarfer.
Yeah.
So if you could play any other character on the Red Dwarf ship Starbug, what would it be? Or who would it be?
Well, I wouldn't mind. I'd like to try being Lister.
Would you?
But if I drank the lager, I'd just be on the floor. I couldn't cope. But I wouldn't mind. I think that's the. I'd quite like to have a go at that, but I wouldn't be very good.
I think cat would be an impossibility for me. My movement, I'm afraid, is not quite
normally.
cat-like.
What about the vocal abilities with cat? Could you give us a cat?
Ow! Oh, thinks that my nipples are tingling.
No, I'd like to have a go at Lister.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm probably as untidy, in real life as the character of Lister is.
Yeah.
So I got a bit of a head start there. Yeah.
So it would be the case of who has the best Liverpudlian accent, really.
Mine's rubbish.
No, mine's rubbish. Absolutely.
Yeah. When Craig has got me to do my impression of him to him, his face is just a picture.
Is it?
Hey, my name's Craig.
Bobby, why are you talking like that?
Because that's how you talk, isn't it?
No, not at all.
Listy's much more down like this.
Yeah.
He's always a bit down and tired, isn't he? Yeah.
Because that was Craig's very constantly repeated phrase when we were making series 11 and 12, and we were ready to go, cameras ready, lights ready, special effects ready. Where's Danny? Danny's not there. Danny's out the back on a motorbike, talking to someone from Star Wars. And Craig would bang his head against the set and go, 28 years.
So have you ever come up with any ideas for an episode or develop into an episode and approach Doug and Grant in the time you've been doing Red Dwarf?
Oh yeah, I think we've sort of. Often in conversations we'll come up with some daft notion, and it never turns out. Doug doesn't then go, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and then write that. But there'll be variants of it, won't there? So
occasionally we'll say something in rehearsal, like back in series 5 or something. I was Mr. Grumpy Git, me genuinely, and I was walking around sort of saying, "For God's sake, the least we can do is be more professional." And then suddenly that day, I saw River saying, "We've got to be a bit more professional." So but actual ideas for episodes. Well, series 12.
There, because we can mention that, because Doug mentioned it. So in series 12, there is an episode where the entire cast, and in fact, all the extras and guest stars are all mechanoids. And it is quite an extraordinary thing to see.
I bet it's a sight to see.
It is a sight to see. And it was absolutely extraordinary thing to make.
But that was brought about at one evening after recording at Series 10, when Danny and Craig went into the makeup room and saw a couple of Crichton masks just sitting on the table, and they put them on. And they ran outside and said, "Hey, Doug, what do you think?" And Danny went down and did a West Indian accent with your Crichton mask. And of course, Doug got the idea, didn't he? He said, we'll do something with that, and that's what you're going to see in Series 12.
It is well worth seeing that episode. It is absolutely extraordinary. When I went down on the set, so I'd been I got there late, which never happens. I was called later. It was amazing, because Chris, Dan and Craig were in makeup, having their latex put on. And so I went down on the set, and there was Craig ironing. Danny was you were mopping the floor. And I think Dan was folding clothes. It was just the most bizarre thing you've ever seen.
But can I just say, this man here deserves massive credit for wearing 35 masks a series or something like that.
Yeah, about 35, 36. Yeah.
We wore it twice, and on the first day I expired and had to be sort of taken home early. It really is because you do feel trapped in a prison of latex, and you can't scratch it. If you get a driplet of sweat, the glue lifts. It's real tour de force, Bobby, for wearing that all day. I couldn't do it, really.
A round of applause for.
It shows a very low intellect. That's what it shows.
And to be quite fair, I read online a few things from fans saying they didn't like your look. Season, and I thought that was absolutely. It's not disgusting in a sense, but it's just disheartening, because like Chris has said, it's just the effort you put into it to get into character and do the character. For then someone to go, "Oh well, it doesn't look that good."
The thing is, it's that side of it is totally beyond my control. It's not. It's the way the mask is made. I think the masks in series 11 and 12 have reached a very good point. I mean, I think they work very well. It's different material. It's much more flexible. It's not as hot as the old stuff.
Yeah.
So it's I think it looks really good. You know,
Yeah,
so
it does. It looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I enjoy the look.
And it's less time for you in makeup, isn't it?
much less time in makeup.
Yeah.
Just the 7 hours.
Yeah, just 7 hours, fine, no trouble.
So if you could take any props away from Red Dwarf over the series you've done, what prop would you take?
Actually, the interior, the whole of Starbug. I love being in Starbug.
How much
That'd
of that
be
is
great.
actually usable, in a sense, shall I say?
Well, I mean, actually, that was one of the things we didn't know. For like 3 series, they're actually old ejector seats from fighter jets.
Oh, wow.
The seats we have. And they'd all been, they were like second-hand ones, Army surplus, RAF surplus, I suppose it would be. And one of them still had a live rocket in the seat. We didn't know. I mean, it wasn't wired up, but, we have lots of sparks going off, lots of electronics that are all wired in. I mean, it could have actually shot someone through the roof of the bloody studio. We didn't know. It was the one Craig was in.
Craig was in,
had a live, very powerful rocket attached to it. We didn't know.
Attached to its bum.
Yeah.
I would, in the science room, was the engine cowling off a Boeing 737.
That was beautiful, yeah.
That's the kind of anorak I am.
Yes.
I'd take that home and make a seat out of it.
Is there anything you can tell us about season 12, apart from obviously the mechanoid, all of you becoming a mechanoid? Is there anything else?
One of the advantages I have if I was being grilled about season 12, by detectives, I wouldn't remember. What happens in episode 2? I don't know, officer. I can't remember. I know we did it, but I think it's quite good.
I think it's, we can't really say anything about it apart from what we said. But I think it's sort of, some more very good stories with a certain amount of relevance to today's world, I guess. And it's funny, hopefully.
I think it's funny, yeah.
Oh, I've got one more question, then we'll take it to the audience for a few. Have you guys, or do you guys own any merchandise from Red Dwarf at all?
I've got a nodding head Crichton doll.
Yeah.
Who's not, and in fact, it is featured in a program that will go out on Thursday night on BBC 4. Not against my better judgment. I didn't want to do it, but the producers did. So they stuck it on the back of my car so that as I drove along, there's a nodding Crichton in the back, which, frankly, Chris, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have that.
Chris looks a bit like...
Bobby,
really?
you're so sad.
It's so sad. So I've got that, and I can't think what else I've got. I've got a model, as a lovely model Crichton, a really good model Crichton. I think that's about it, really.
I've got some a Starbug, little Starbug.
Oh.
What else have I got? Loads of T-shirts.
T-shirts,
and props from the show. I got a little Scutter. Have you got a little bookend?
Oh
Scutter?
no, I haven't got a Scutter.
And I've got the bullet from Back to Earth with the name Rimmer on it.
I've got the bullet with Crichton on it. Yeah.
Nice.
They're very generous. They gave us those at the end of
the they just flood us with prop. No, not at all.
All right, okay, so we're going to take some from the audience. So if you have a question, please put your hand up. He's first, straight there. Right, I'll come straight out.
Hang on.
Now, I know it's been 28 years on, and there's a 12th and possibly a 13th.
But right up next.
Possibly a 13th season, but do you think we will ever see a Red Dwarf movie?
We have, as you can imagine, discussed it at enormous length. I actually can't quite picture it. Never say never, but in a way, we've all kind of agreed that it's a sitcom and it works best when we record it in front of an audience. And in a way, maybe it would be a brilliant thing to do a movie that you record in front of an audience. But I can't quite envisage that.
I mean, in a sense, Back to Earth sort of, was the Flex the movie kind of muscle. It's a 3-parter. And if you join them all together, it's sort of almost movie length, short movie length type thing, 1 hour, 20 minutes or something. So I think after that, the decision was, let's go back to kind of what we do, what we did started out as, and that's a half-hour show with an audience.
I mean, if some quirky reason Hollywood was like, we are actually going to make a Red Dwarf movie, what star would play either one of your characters?
We've talked about this at great length. Tom Hanks
would
play Crichton.
That'd be brilliant.
Tom Hanks would be brilliant.
All day long.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks as Crichton. Yeah, I can see that.
Brad Pitt as Rimmer.
I can see that.
Denzel Washington as the cat.
As Cat, yeah.
And
Morgan Freeman's
Morgan Freeman as Lister. That would be brilliant. Morgan Freeman as
Right,
Lister.
guys, any other questions? Oh, we got one there.
Hello, my name's Mel. Nice to meet you both. I have a choice for you. Would you like a question you might have heard before but with a twist, or a brand new question?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Choices, decisions.
I quite like a brand new question
Me
we've
too.
never heard.
Brand new
Okay.
question.
So I watch a show called Orphan Black, and the lead actress plays so many characters. If if your character could have a clone, what do you think they would do about the situation?
So, did you catch all of that, Chris? If your
If
character
your character had a clone, what do you think they would do with that knowledge?
Had a clone.
A clone. Ooh.
Well, I think if Rimmer had a clone, he would probably try and make even more clones through bioprinting. And then
Yes.
he would take over the Officers Club and he would basically run Red Dwarf. And then things might start going wrong and a Rimmer monster would emerge and eat all Rimmers. And actually, that could be a good episode in the show, couldn't it, really?
Keep that under your hat, Chris.
I can't. I'm trying to think what would happen with. I think Crichton might get quite moody and bitchy and boss his clone around, and criticise him and be all picky. I don't know. There is. Because the problem I've got is I can remember some episodes where there's some elements of that in the show, but I can't remember whether that's season 11 or 12. I think it's season 12.
Yeah. Well, of course.
So there may be something along those lines in the pipeline.
And of course, the other thing, a Rimmer clone, they'd be competing with each other. They'd
Yeah.
be trying to do more star jumps than the other one. And, you know, they'd eventually, one of them would have to get switched off. We could do an episode of that.
Do an episode of that, yeah.
Me Squared, remember that one?
I've already done it, exactly.
Well, we got one more here.
Hey, I'm from the Republic. You're a great cult there. You're loved by everybody. I was wondering if you ever heard yourself speak like that in a different language, for example, Czech.
Oh, yeah.
How
No,
much did you
I've
hate
seen the Czech dubbed version and the Japanese version, and I love the Japanese version because in that Lister has a very high-pitched voice, and I'm going to do what could be mildly offensive to Japanese people impression of that because I don't speak Japanese. But when he came on, he went, and then when Crichton came on, he was like a samurai warrior. It was absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Craig hated it.
Yeah, the Japanese was interesting.
Yeah.
Was entertaining for, you know, maybe 20 seconds. And then, you know, started to become weird. But yeah, it was quite weird, wasn't it? Quite,
because a lot of Japanese executives from the TV company came on the set once, didn't they? We met them all, and they were so lovely and so polite. And we didn't know we were doing all the bowing wrong. 'Cause they bowed and we got it all wrong. But they were very
it was
delightful.
like a spitting image sketch, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
You
yeah.
didn't know when to stop bowing.
Yeah.
No one knew when to stop
Constantly
bowing.
I just bowed all day. I didn't.
But they're very sweet and they love the show.
Hi, my name's Carrie.
Hello.
So, as it was mentioned, the 30th anniversary is coming up. How do you feel to see teenagers such as myself be so invested in the show and so obsessed with it, basically?
How do we feel about? Did you say teenagers?
Yeah, teenagers such as myself.
It's
yeah.
extraordinary. I mean, it is baffling because we've been doing it such a long time, and you know, to meet young people who whose mums and dads hadn't even met when we were doing Red Dwarf in the early days, and who are now really into it is quite. I mean, it's wonderful. It's really lovely that it does appeal to a completely new generation. You know, so it's very pleasing for us.
Yep, it's exciting, you know, that it's reaching more and more generations, you know, it's fantastic.
Last year at a convention, I met 4 generations of Red Dwarf fans: grandma, mum, daughter, granddaughter, a great-granddaughter, and they all had H's on there. They all wore H's. Absolutely extraordinary sight to see. It was amazing. Yeah.
So like you said, it's 30 years next year. Is there anything in the pipeline to celebrate that fact?
I mean, well, there's been many discussions around what we could do. So there's certainly there's talk of and this is not confirmed or anything, but there is talk of doing series 13 and 14. We don't know anything about it yet. So,
but you'd be willing to do full.
We've all said we'll do. I think we've all agreed we would do more, wouldn't we?
Well, we certainly don't want to finish on 13.
No.
So it's going to be 2 more, or at least, hopefully.
Well, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure
Thank
to have
you.
you on our sofa. A round of applause, Chris Barry.
Thank you
Robin
very much.
Llewellyn.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Remember, guys,
Thank
to
you.
like, subscribe, share, press that notifications bell so you don't miss out on anything on YouTube. Thank you very much. That's our last panel for today.
Very good.
You've been absolutely amazing, MCM Comic Con. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Woo! See you all tomorrow.